Hi, and welcome to Heroes of Marketing Cloud, the show where we talk with Salesforce Marketing Cloud experts. My name is Anthony Lamot. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DESelect, and I'll be your host for today. And today we'll be talking with Arthur Backouche. Arthur is a senior Salesforce Marketing Cloud consultant at Skie, and we have a very engaging conversation about AI and all things technical in Marketing Cloud, SQL, AMPScript, and also SSJS, as well as other trends going on in the marketing automation space. Hi, Arthur. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm doing very well, opposite sides of the world, but I appreciate you making time on an early Saturday morning for you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. Um, Actually, your name seems to be French. I was wondering, are you from France? And a lot of people from your team are in Switzerland, I've heard.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I'm not French, although I speak some French, or at least I like to think that I speak some French. But I'm Belgian. My native tongue
Okay,
is
okay.
Dutch. Yeah, but I'm
I see,
based
I
in
see.
Texas. Yeah.
That's nice. That must be great to live in Texas.
Right. And
I,
I know you're
yeah.
based in Sydney, but you don't particularly have a Australian accent. So I'm presuming you're from France.
Yeah. I arrived in Sydney like 5 years ago now. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. How are you
Yeah,
liking it?
that's quite good. Yeah, it's really good. I think so far it's like one of the best I've lived in. Like you have like the outdoor activity and the lifestyle is really great.
Mhm.
But I guess Texas must be nice as well. This is where there is a Tesla headquarter as well.
Yeah, that's right. Elon lives
Yeah.
about 30 minutes from where I'm currently sitting.
Oh, really? Do
Yeah.
you grab your coffee in the same cafe sometimes
Oh, well,
with
we're
him?
not grabbing drinks. We're not on a first name basis just yet, but who knows? He likes to hang out with podcasters. I know, like Lex Fridman. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, weather is amazing here. I mean, Australia gets hot too, but right now it's been over 40 degrees Celsius, over 100 Fahrenheit for like 2 months. But I love
Yeah.
it. I'm glad to be in this hot climate. So yeah.
Yeah. How did you come up to choose Texas?
Oh, that's a long story. And I won't go into too much detail now because maybe some people want
Yeah.
to hear more about Marketing Cloud, but the majority of our market is in the US. We
Yeah.
serve large enterprise companies and mid-market. There's a huge market for us in Europe. There's also a huge market for us in Australia and APAC,
Yeah.
but the majority of big companies obviously are in the US. So we wanted to open
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
office here. And Austin is a very vibrant city with a lot of new tech talent. It's centrally located and it has
Yeah.
it's just a great city. So that's why we chose Austin, Texas specifically.
Okay. That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. And you started your journey with Marketing Cloud. I hear that you went in holiday for a few weeks to learn how to code in order to build DESelect.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
like
maybe you read that in a blog or something, an old blog maybe. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's really a great story.
appreciate that. Yeah, kind of. So at some point I wanted to get better at programming, so I took a sabbatical, went to Bali, lived there for three
Yeah.
months while I rented my home back in Belgium out on Airbnb just to cover for costs.
Yeah.
And I won't say that led directly to DEESelect, but at least I had the technological know-how to see a solution, to think of a solution. So I
Yeah.
don't regret it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
were you a user of Marketing Cloud before?
yeah, I was already doing Marketing Cloud projects
Okay.
before, yeah. And what about
Nice.
your background, Arthur?
Yeah.
What is it like? Can you say a bit about what your background is and what is that you do these days?
Yeah. So I used to study computer science. Um, so do you know the school 42 in it's a school that is quite popular. So I did a school called
Mhm.
Epitech, and the school it's like school where you only learn by practice. You know,
Okay.
there is no theory. So like you have project. It's exactly like working in like an agency. So you have always project to deliver with group of people, and you have no theory knowledge, so no theoretical knowledge, so it's like you deliver projects. So it was great to learn that, but I didn't really like language like C++ or like
Mhm.
deep technology deep technology language. I was more interested in digital marketing, how to drive customer, how to drive conversion to a website, how to optimize a website. So I started to do a lot of like internship, like, and work in digital marketing at first. And that's how I've learned like the digital marketing in general. And I've worked like maybe 5-6 years as a digital marketer. And then when I came back to Australia, I realized that like working as a digital marketer is not great, because you don't have like a good visa, for example. You don't have like good salary as well, like, because there is no benchmark of digital marketer. You don't know if like this guy is better than that guy. Like there is no one to say, like, where with Salesforce, the certification, like you have an industry and you have like a benchmark between like the different consultant, I guess. And then yeah, I start learning like about IT, about Salesforce more specifically, because I already had like this IT background. And yeah, so I've learned about Salesforce, and then I start working as a consultant. And it was great because Marketing Cloud specifically require you to know about like IT, like you need to code in like SQL, JavaScript, and scripting language. And also you need to have the knowledge into digital marketing, such as like having conversation that makes sense with the customer, for example, on what they can achieve, what are like the nurturing journey, what are the segment. And I think it was the best of both worlds for me, because like I had like these two segments, these two add-on that I've learned over my life. And then I end up working as a Salesforce Marketing Cloud consultant. So
And
that's the
it
story.
sounds like a good, yeah, it sounds like a good marriage between your IT background and your marketing agency background. I think, just as an aside, I think it's interesting what you said about how salaries for marketing cloud consultants are better than for agencies. I think scarcity in the job market is perhaps a part of it, but you're probably right that certification helps, because with an agency, it's very hard to have objective measures of the quality of the work, I suppose.
Yeah. And I think from what I've saw is like, if you work as a generic digital marketer, like there is plenty of digital marketer in the world, I guess. And it's more like if you work in marketing, you are the one searching for a job. Where if you are a consultant in Marketing Cloud, the company are more searching for you as a skill. So there is like, it's totally different, like the balance between this
the supply and
supply
demand
and the demand. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
So
what's the coolest Marketing Cloud project you've done so far, Arthur?
I've worked on like plenty of interesting projects. I think like project that I like is where there is technical challenge with the platform. I think one that was quite interesting that we just delivered is an integration with a hardware for the BBC. So they created like a photo booth system, so, you know, like where people take photo, and we integrate it with Marketing Cloud. So for that we are using like we are using different API, for example, content builder API, to receive like the files, and the files were like MP4 and like GIF. So you know, it's like more it's quite interesting to learn how to encode like a video, for example, and to pass it to content builder. And then we were sending like a journey. We were triggering a journey that send an email that includes this content to the user. So this one was maybe not the most complex one, but as there is an integration to hardware and to a product that you can touch or that you can interact with in the real life, I think it was pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've had a number of great guests on the show, and I think you're the first person who ever gave an example of someone integrating between hardware and Marketing Cloud. Could you maybe
Yeah,
we have a mixed audience of technical and non-technical users, so with that in
yeah,
mind, could you highlight some of the challenges you ran into or how you went about that solution? Because I think it's kind of interesting.
yeah. So I think like so there is different type of challenge. There is a technical challenge and there is a process. Like we had challenge with the process, and I think something that we really improve is like the QA testing. So
Okay.
so we work with someone of our team that runs the test properly, like to see if there is any bug in the solution. And I think this we had some challenge at the beginning where we were delivering like the first solution, the first version had some issue, and someone of our team called Christian run like the QA tests and find out there is some issue, for example, with like when you deliver like promo code, but because when we were sending the email to people, we were giving some promo code, like discount code, 20% off, 100% off. And what we realized is that there is an issue when the journey is delivering the discount code. Sometimes they will deliver the same code to different people, even though like you have like a system that should make them deliver only one code per person. And
Right.
for
So it
that, there
sounds
is
like
this.
it was like
Yep.
randomly generated, but maybe not unique. Is that what you're saying?
No, they were stored into data extension, but still, like I think, like when the journey delivers the email, it goes too fast, and sometimes like the journey doesn't have the capability to say, okay, this discount code has been already delivered. Now I'm going to the next one. No, I'm going
Okay,
to the
right.
next one.
I see.
So we had to use a function for that. I don't remember the name of the function, but one part of the function was raised error, and it
Mhm.
basically stop not the system, but switch to another contact in the system if there is if this happen. So
Yeah,
so
I
we
actually,
found out the solution. Yep.
yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add, I actually know a little bit about the raise error thing. And I know that we're
Yeah,
going pretty technical here for the audience, but so there's a function called raise error that if my understanding is correct, it can just cancels a specific email being sent
yeah.
for whatever reason. It's like a catch-all for if something goes wrong.
Yep. Yeah, and you have two choice basically. So you have like either it cancels the overall process, so no contact will receive any email anymore, or it's just one contact that stop receiving the email, and then they continue to switch to the other one in the process.
Right.
But yeah. So this was one of the challenge that we discovered. We fixed it, so it was good. Um, and we also improve a lot the way we work as a team with like the QA process. Like the testing part is very important,
Mhm.
and I think it's something that you learn and that is different with each team. So it's not like if you are like a JavaScript developer and you have like a proper framework that exists. I feel it's up to each organization to build their own testing framework with Marketing Cloud. And I think we have learned a lot to build our in order to deliver products that are perfect for the customer.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I know as many people have actually commented on the show that quality assurance and not having an actual sandbox is a typical challenge. So that sounds like an
Yeah,
interesting way to deal with that. Another functionality that's been more discussed recently, and obviously we run into as we have launched a new product called Engage, is frequency capping. I was kind of curious if you've ever worked with Einstein frequency capping, if you've seen use cases and how that turns out.
yeah. So I think frequency is very interesting in terms of what we call audience fatigue. So
Right.
it's like you make sure you don't deliver too much content to your contact in order to keep him like interested in your product, like you don't struggle with like the all your email. If we use it, yes, I think we use it, but differently. Like for example, at this stage, we set up some fields in Sales Cloud, for example. And when we pull like the Salesforce data, we will do a filter on this particular field in Sales Cloud just to make sure that we are not sending like before 30 days, for example, like the email. So we haven't used in a lot of projects like Einstein frequency cap, but I think I have a good understanding of what it is and how we can use it. You, from your point of view, why people are using Engage, that like your new product?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. Well, first off, there's limitations with Einstein frequency capping. It's a cool feature because it's out of the box and you don't need to do a lot to set up, but you need to use the out of the box subscription model. And very few customers really use that because almost everyone ends up building a custom subscription center or something like that. And once you do that, you already can't use it anymore. But I would say even if you have that, there's another issue with it, which is just a comfort that marketers have because it's a black box. They don't know if Einstein says, this person is saturated or not, and we're not going to send an email or not. It doesn't say why that is. So as we spoke with our customers and more in the context of DESelect Segment, there was a recurring need and requirement for frequency capping that is rule-based, meaning marketers can define the rules. So I would say for Engage, to actually answer your questions, I think the main reasons why people get engaged are they need rule-based frequency capping. They're not only concerned about over engagement, but also under engagement. So they also want to see, hey, who in my audience can I engage more with? And then and this is also interesting. I actually didn't think the product would turn out to be that way initially, but we ended up building this whole calendar where people can manage all their sends, all their campaigns, if you prefer. And then they can also manage priorities of campaigns in case there are conflicts. Like if we can predict an audience is going to be over saturated, or they will hit their frequency cap. To our synonyms. Then those marketers who set up those sends, they can have a discussion about, okay, this priority is higher than this one, and they can add that.
Okay.
So, so there's a huge campaign planning factor. Go ahead.
The way you describe Engage, like your new product, make me think about the Einstein recipe in Interaction Studio. Have you heard about that? It's like basically it's like from what I understand is like Engage, you can have different ingredients, like you can have different settings in order to build your own frequency, what you define as a good frequency in a way.
Right. But okay, so you're referring to Marketing Cloud Interaction Studio, formerly known as Evergage.
Yeah. And now it's personalization. So
and now it's personalization, right? Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Oops. It's different though. But here's the problem with the constant renaming of the products. If we can be very candid, and I feel on this show we can. The phrase Marketing Cloud Personalization is a little bit misleading, because you really have to ask what kind of personalization. And ultimately, Marketing Cloud Personalization is really a digital solution, meaning it's meant to personalize websites. Yes, there is a way to integrate with Marketing Cloud engagement these days. So the good old real Marketing Cloud, so it's like Target. And so you could technically steer email communications as well, but the driver of that is normally your digital interactions, the digital activities on your website, which there's a whole subject in itself. And the fact is, many people don't have these two solutions. Many companies don't, or they're not always completely integrated because they're actually using different stacks. So there's that's not to say that there aren't really interesting use cases in terms of driving email personalization by web interaction. I totally think there are. It's just that would not really be a solution for the problem we encounter with our customers, who are really just because our customers are just really worried about not being annoying and not spamming their customers.
I understand.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
That's I think it makes total sense. I think it's people need that, and I think people want to see like a transparent solution where they understand each parameter of it. Like they want to know what will happen, and maybe that's an issue that is happening with the current feature of Marketing Cloud, Einstein frequency, and I think this can link us to the other question that is related to artificial intelligence. What's the future of artificial intelligence with Marketing Cloud? And I think people really want control and transparency on what will happen. And I think this is the risk or like the opportunity, but like it will be a challenge with generative artificial intelligence. I don't think people want yet like a machine to write the email copywriting that will be sent to the customer. They want to they want to control that part, mostly like the big organization, because they are really like perfectionist on the message that they deliver to their customer. And I think as well, what will be interesting with artificial intelligence, it will be on the insight and analytics. I think that's the main area of development that I think will help. How about you? How do you see artificial intelligence coming into Marketing Cloud?
Yeah, great question. I mean, man, we're gonna be able to talk a lot about this. I will take a step back first before even talking about Marketing Cloud specifically. We totally embrace it as a company. I personally use it. It's like one of my new bookmarks. I have the paid version of ChatGPT. Oh yeah, for sure. And we actively encourage people in the company to use it for all their lines of business. And we have a marketing team, right? So if I look at my own marketing team, we're already using it heavily for content creation. And if I look, for instance, at a more strategic level, whether it's company strategy or marketing strategy specifically, it's a really interesting tool just for brainstorming, I find, structuring your thoughts. I don't know if you've tried that before.
I do use it. I never use it to brainstorm. But yeah, I do use it, like not every day, but
sure.
I think like it saves me time, and I think like I would be scared if I was like a company such as Grammarly, Grammarly,
sure.
like the Chrome extension that fix your typo. I think like I tend to prefer using ChatGPT than like Grammarly, for example.
I don't know. So this is funny that you say this, because I actually recently used ChatGPT to help me write an article. Plus I was also doing an interesting experiment on LinkedIn, because I'm a very voracious poster on LinkedIn. People who follow this show, they probably know. And so I did a series of experiments where I had ChatGPT write LinkedIn posts. And the big thing I noticed is that one, the posts are much more generic, but I can tell a little bit more about my strategy on making it less generic. But secondly, Grammarly still finds grammatical suggestions in what ChatGPT says.
Really? Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Why do you think?
Because I don't think ChatGPT is optimized for having beautiful grammar. It's optimized for giving synthesis, like for summarizing large quantities of natural language information and then providing suggestions, while also tapping into the whole internet as a database, essentially, from September 21.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think Grammarly will always provide different option, maybe, as like there is not one way of writing a sentence correctly.
Sure.
So I don't know. But yeah, like I think it's a great tool. Like ChatGPT is nice. Um, I think I'm quite excited about, like, I've seen they started to develop some apps like you can integrate with external system. I think this will be like I haven't tried it. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's available on the market, but it's basically you can pull the data from other system. It's a bit like Siri will
We're doing this.
interact with. Oh, okay.
We
Is
I
it
mean, we are
good?
doing this for a product. Actually just this week. So today, I mean, for those who are listening, it's August 18, 23. Just 5 days ago, we went live
Yeah.
with DeeDee AI. So DeeDee is the name of our penguin mascot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so we called our generative AI capabilities DeeDee AI, a little bit similar as
Yeah.
Einstein AI, I suppose. And what it does is that this is for a Segment product. So
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Segment is essentially a drag and drop solution to create SQL in Marketing Cloud, to do very
Yeah.
refined segmentation, duplication, whatever. And so now people can just say, "Hey, DeeDee, I want this segment from my last orders in Australia and France, with a volume of this and a value of this."
Yeah.
And based on the natural language, we can translate that into a configured segment in DESelect, which is not just SQL, but actually for people who don't know SQL, it's actually a visual representation in our
Oh,
UX.
yeah.
And then people can still iterate. And that's just step one. We have a lot more ideas there to go
Uh,
further.
you are using the ChatGPT API for that?
Yeah, that's right. So this is we're integrating with OpenAI for that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
which is it's a paid service, right? Because they have a
Yeah.
solution for companies, and we're using we've integrated with some of their APIs essentially. But then
Oh,
on
okay.
our side, we need to add a layer to train the model and help them understand. Okay, this is how this is what our data looks like and how we
Mm.
visualize it, and then we need to add some guardrails and stuff like that. So, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we do that.
Is there like any plan to uh, get rid of OpenAI in the future to build your own full system?
No and yes. So no, we don't plan to get rid of OpenAI. And here's the thing, like, so as a side note, but an important one, I think integrating generative AI capabilities into your product will typically rely on one of the big providers, which for the time being will mainly be OpenAI, but we're going to see other providers as well, obviously. The other tech companies are trying to catch up real fast. And they will
Yeah.
probably, I mean, not catch up, but they will deliver good solutions too.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that this will become ubiquitous. And what I mean with that is, like, today, if you would start a SaaS company,
Yeah.
you're going to do it in the cloud, right? Unless you're maybe some very fringe niche financial on-premise product for security reasons,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
also happens. But except for that, like, very rare situation, you would by default do it in the cloud. So my prediction is that maybe a year from now, every new SaaS company by default will have generative AI capabilities integrated into its solution, because customers will expect it, because they will expect that level of performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I saw a lot of most of the SaaS now are using already like some artificial intelligence integration. I think
Totally.
is not all of them are really well integrated. I feel like sometimes to me it doesn't make sense that like it's more here to for the sake of being here. Um, I think it's really interesting to find what's the usage that really provide value to the customer.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a challenge because in some case like I think it's still early to find like the real value of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, that will be interesting. Like I think like people will enjoy like a lot of people that are not technical, or even people that are technical could enjoy using like DD AI, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I can lift a little bit more of the veil, spoiler alert. But so I mean, we're getting really positive feedback on the initial feature. So the initial feature I described is essentially what we call Copilot, right? You tell DeeDee like, hey, this is
Yeah,
what I want to do, and it segments for you, right? So that's Copilot. So that's already live with a few customers, but we already have a big waiting list. So, and if people who are interested, go to DESelect.com/DEE, that's DEEDEE dash AI, and you can sign up for it. But we're going to go further, and the next main capability that we're already looking into, and then by the way, we also need to talk about, just because we sidetracked on the ChatGPT, I just remember we need to talk about native ML as well. But just to stick with DDI, the other thing we want to do is what we call tribal knowledge. So Arthur, you've been worked with customers. You know how in every organization there's this one guy or gal who knows the data, right?
yeah,
And whenever someone needs to create a segment or isn't sure
yeah,
about a filter, they go to Frank or Susie's desk and they go, hey, Frank or Susie, what filter should I use? What
yeah,
criteria should I use? And so typically this kind of person is very proud of their work, but it's also not ideal for them that people come and pull their sleeve every 5 minutes
yeah,
to ask questions,
yeah,
right? So there's a bit of annoyance there. From the point of view from the organization, however, there's like a massive risk if Frank or Susie gets hit by a bus tomorrow, like who will
yeah,
know the data? So here's the idea for DD tribal knowledge. The idea is that as people are segmenting in DESelect, with DD or not, like even manually,
mm,
we quietly listen and try to figure out, or rather DD quietly tries to figure out, how are people segmenting and why, so that when a new person joins, they can
yeah,
just say, hey DD, I'm new in this company, tell me how people segment, and it will just spit out all the typical segments, and then you can go, oh, build me one of these segments, and
yeah,
then DDI will do that. But then I think that here's a really important nuance, a really interesting use case. You will be able to ask, can you tell me something about that filter? Why did you use this value and not the other? And
yeah,
that's where it gets really interesting, because now Frank and Susie are suddenly scaled, right? And that's awesome, I think.
yeah. I think that's a good idea. I think we need that. We also need like things to write documentation easily. Have you heard about Scribe? So it's
I think
like
I heard of it, but I haven't used it.
I haven't used it neither, but it's like something that basically, as long as you create the process, like let's say
Mm-hmm.
you set up your segment in Marketing Cloud, Scribe
Mm-hmm.
will take some screenshots and they will build the documentation for you automatically, which
Oh,
is
that's
like
awesome.
very impressive. I think this is like the type of artificial intelligence usage that are very interesting
Yeah.
compared to generating like a small text on like another platform. Like for example, I saw Elementor. They propose like some.
Yeah.
Do you know Elementor? They
Yeah, sure,
propose
for
some
WordPress, right?
generative. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this platform. Uh, but like the way they integrated artificial intelligence is not that great. Like I think they just propose you to generate the text on the text widget. So
Right.
like it depends of the company, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, in fact, I think we still use Elementor for our own website, but I might be wrong. It's been a while since I had to go into the admin panel myself. But
Yeah,
about Scribe, I mean, I just have a quick look at the website. It looks super interesting.
yeah,
I mean, look, I don't know the product. I'm not endorsing this. This is not an affiliate marketing thing. But I will say I really believe in the value of good documentation. I think it's one of those
yeah,
things. It's interesting. Like one of the last guests on the show was Jenna Madsen from How to SFMC, and she also like underlined the value of good documentation. Now, obviously, we're talking specifically about Marketing Cloud,
yeah,
but I think this is important for everything. In fact, just before this meeting, I spent the last 2 hours updating some of our own internal documentation,
yeah.
which is like very specific business knowledge that I will make sure is like downloaded from my brain and available for the whole company. So, I mean, yeah, seeing something like this is pretty cool. So, thank you
A-
for the recommendation.
and there is there is two things. There is the documentation, and there is, I don't know how you call that in English, but like in French, we call that the norm. So it's like
A
the
norm?
structure of, yeah, it's like the norm of your code. The way you write code is also very important, I think, because
Or like a
um,
convention, maybe coding
yeah,
conventions?
yeah, exactly, coding convention. I think this is so important because um, like a code that is well written in Marketing
Mhm.
Cloud, it's so much easier to understand. So this is something that we are working a lot in our team
Yeah.
to make sure that people write code the correct way, and
Totally,
also
totally.
like there is some choice to be made, because for example you can choose between AMPScript and SSJS, and 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 some people will write like a full page in AMPScript when sometimes you should be using more like SSJS for like a cloud page, and AMPScript for small script only.
Yeah.
So this is like an open discussion. What's your view on that? Like, what do you think? Do you have like a coding convention, for example, at DESelect, and how do people make choice when they choose the code, the language to write?
Man, let me unwrap that one. So yes, the short answer is yes. Of course, we have code conventions. One of before I jump in there, one thing that came to mind as you were talking is I know some people have used ChatGPT for reformatting of code. So reformatting,
Okay.
like very quickly for those who don't know, like if you write code in a certain way and then over time keep adding and adding and adding, at some point there's sometimes ways to do it more efficiently if you can start from scratch. But that's like typically the thing no developer wants to do because it's more time consuming and you're not really
Yeah.
adding new functionality, just making code more efficient. But it's super important because if you don't, you're creating technical debt, and sooner or later it's gonna hurt in a bad way. So I actually suggested our head of engineering, Dom, to try that. Now we tried it with ChatGPT to let files be reformatted or refactored, and it didn't quite work it as we want. And I think it's partially because but he'll be able to explain better than me, but I'm guessing it's partially because it cannot adhere to our specific coding conventions, right? So if there was a
Yeah.
way to, and I'm sure we can give some instructions to ChatGPT, it's just that I know from my own practice that you can provide instructions to ChatGPT and it listens to it kind of for a while and then it starts doing its own thing again. So if we could
Mm.
just say, hey, ChatGPT, these are the rules, and then reformat, that would be super powerful. So that's probably a company in itself.
Yeah.
You could start for that use case. Um, to your question of so that's a little bit how we think about our code. Now, our code, by the way, I mean, our own solution is in JavaScript. It's for those who know, front end is React, back end is Node. So I honestly don't know these days what we're using. I think we're using ASGS 7. I don't know anymore. I used to
Yeah.
code 4 years ago when we started this thing. That's it's been 4 or 5 years ago. Time flies.
Yeah.
So I'm past that point, but what we do, we do of course generate SQL, and all the SQL we create is already optimized as much as we can because
Yeah.
we want to make sure there's none of those infamous timeouts in Marketing Cloud.
Yeah.
But we have other ways around that too. And sorry, I feel I'm making a sideway on a sideway here, but
Mm.
aside from just having as optimized code as we can to make sure that we don't have timeouts. We also have other ways to work around that, and I don't think I have to go into too much detail right now. But
Yeah.
suffice to say, one of our customers has has a huge database. When I say huge database, I mean they have 170 million contacts,
Yeah.
and they have one data extension that has 1.2 billion records.
Wow, that's
Uh,
huge.
it's freaking huge. And it's a huge customer, not just from ours, but from
Yeah.
Marketing Cloud. They're pretty cool. Unfortunately, I can't mention their name just yet, but yeah, so we can handle that stuff. So, and then maybe my last thought on what you said is, I guess the question is also like, when do you use AMPScript versus SSJS?
SSGS. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really honest. I'm not a super expert in either. Like, I know how to write in JavaScript, and I have code in AMPScript. I think what you said makes sense. I think the reason why people, so what you said was AMPScript for small stuff, SSJS for more complex stuff, and that
Yeah,
intuitively makes sense to me because SSJS is JavaScript, which is way more powerful than AMPScript, which is a very specific language to Marketing Cloud. I think people
yeah,
why they drop into AMPScript is that because most people who start using Marketing Cloud, even if they want to learn the technical stuff,
yeah.
JavaScript is its own language, right? So you really need to be a developer to understand what's going on.
Yeah, but I think also like it's like in most of the case, like as soon as you build like complex solution, you have to use both and you
Mm-hmm.
merge like both language into the same like piece of code, like snippet of
Mm-hmm.
code. And because there is things that are easier to do with AMPScript, because I think it's like a new version, like it's more recent than SSJS. I think SSJS is an old version of JavaScript, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, yeah, after like it depends. But I think it's really interesting is if as an organization you define when to use what, and also like you try to standardize and have naming convention for pretty much like everything, because like if you do this effort at the beginning, then you will have like a clean marketing cloud instance and everyone will benefit from it, even
Arthur,
DeeDee
clean
AI.
clean Marketing Cloud instance. Now you're just talking nonsense. Let's get real. But I mean, there's also a few use cases I remember that SSJS can solve specifically that AMPScript just can't. And I think one of the use cases is if when you want to deal with rows in an email. So a concrete example, you're a retailer, someone makes a purchase with 3 items. Being able to show those 3 items in the email, I believe, can only be done with SSJS, not really with AMPScript in a good scalable way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure about this one.
well, I mean, someone can maybe fact check on me. Like, hopefully, maybe one of the MVPs is listening. They'll comment in the comments on the video. That'd be pretty swell.
And just yes, uh, like DESelect is the. I was wondering, like DESelect is the organization on the App Exchange for
Mhm.
Marketing Cloud that is one of the you guys are one of the most popular apps basically on the App Exchange for Marketing Cloud. No?
I believe so. I believe we have more reviews than any other provider.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's huge what you created over the time.
Thanks, you're very kind. Well, I feel we're still only getting started. There's
Yeah,
so much more we can do, and so many more customers to serve, and so much more stuff to build. But I'm pretty happy
yeah.
where we got so far. I think it's something to be proud of. Yeah.
Do you think, like from your point of view, there is a stage where you would like to integrate DESelect with the other marketing platform, for example, like Adobe or I don't know, Marketo, or like like be or even DESelect becoming like your own platform that could what's the future plan for DESelect from your point of view?
It's a great question. I think about every investor asks me about it, and every sing along who works for us asks me too. So first off, I will say we are really already a platform in our own right. What I
Yeah, yeah,
mean with that is we have multiple capabilities, and we actually run our own infrastructure, right? So our solution, like Engage, is built on Google Cloud Platform, actually,
yeah, yeah.
which is massively scalable. It can filter 1.2 million messages per hour for a given customer,
Mhm.
which is huge. And we can probably scale it up infinitely, by the way. But so it's its own platform. But to answer your question, when and if will we support our platforms, I will just say, stay tuned.
Oh, really? That's the worst answer. Like, like we wanted to know. But yeah, that would be interesting. Like, I think it would be exciting, like in the future. Like, but yeah. But if you say stay tuned, I will not.
We'll leave the audience with a good cliffhanger there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, coming back to if we can geek out a little bit longer
yeah.
about code principles. There's actually another sort of design principle customers can make, not just between SSJS or AMPScript, but also, funnily enough, between AMPScript and SQL. Now, let me unwrap that. So AMPScript is more of a front-end language. Typically, you use it to personalize your emails. SQL is a back-end language. You use it to query your database. So what's the link? Well, we see, and this is something that we didn't really think about when we started out, to be honest, but we saw very smart customers use DESelect to create queries where essentially they did all the personalization already in the data. And so when they write the email and afterwards, they can use drag and drop personalization fields, and they don't need developers' time anymore to create those front-end email templates, or at least much, much, much less. So I think that's another interesting design choice you can make as a company.
So if I understand correctly, it's like you link AMPScript with your email template. No, with like the SQL basic.
You don't even need AMPScript. I mean, there are personalization fields. I know there's AMPScript personalization fields too, but I think there's some drag and drop functions too to just get field names, like for instance, your first name, right? Like a very simple one. So what people can do is, so I'll give one example. Say you have a use case where you want to send an email to a person and you want to refer to their last purchase. Like, you just bought a pair of sneakers and you want to say, hey, Arthur, about your sneakers, whatever. So there's two ways of doing that, essentially. You could do something like in AMPScript, say, I'm going to create a lookup to the table or purchases and then the last item and then whatever. Or you can say, well, I'm going to write a SQL query that merges contacts with their last purchase. And so at the level of the data, I have it. Now, if you don't have any other options, these options are kind of equal, right? It just really depends. Where do you want to manage your code? But if you want non-technical marketers to use the email itself without relying on developers, it's probably better that you do the coding in the backend, in the in the data. So our customers who have DESelect segments, they figure this out and they do all the personalization as much as they can at the level of the data, which they can do with non-technical users too, because it's an intuitive drag and drop thing. And then in the email, they hardly have to write any AMPScript anymore.
But I think from what I see, we have a lot of customers that would benefit from DESelect. I think that's impressive, like the number of Marketing Cloud users who don't have like technical knowledge, and I think Salesforce is not pushing like Marketing Cloud to be a product that is accessible for everyone,
right?
Because I think like they see themselves as an industry more than a company, and this industry also rely on partners. So I think like the fact that there is complexity is not 100% an issue. Like they don't need to make the product as easy as possible for everyone. And I think where DESelect bring value is like in this challenge that people without technical knowledge can start using the platform.
Yeah, I mean,
is that what you see as well?
I mean, yeah. First off, thank you for the kind words. Look, here's the thing. I think I think Marketing Cloud is a super performant platform, and it is very flexible. Now, the downside of that is it's technical, but the people who originally started ExactTarget, I think they knew what they were doing. I think they were specifically catering to a very technical audience, to a very technical user base. Just like Pardot, there's a very interesting interview with Adam Blitzer you can find on YouTube where he talks about his journey with Pardot, and he says they made a design choice to do the opposite thing, right? They went for super easy but less features. And I think there's a customer base for all. Now, so you need to really understand it, because that's really the history and the legacy of Marketing Cloud. And I think it's hard to get rid of without losing some of the value of the flexibility. So it does unfortunately mean that some customers, they maybe buy Marketing Cloud thinking it might be more, end user friendly, if I can call it that way. But that's often where we come in.
I don't know, but I think it's a great platform in all the case. Like I remember, like the first time I opened in Marketing Cloud, I was a bit shocked by the design of it, like the UX design of it, because I
What are you
was
talking
used.
about? I have no idea what you're saying.
I used to work with like startup products, so more like
Right.
Mailchimp, like this kind of small uh, Polish products. And
Exactly.
then when I opened Marketing Cloud, I was really, is that the platform that I will work every day with? And at the end of the day, once I think you need maybe 1 or 2 week of practice, like to get
Mhm.
used to the interface. And once you start using it, you understand that there is no limit to what you want to achieve with the platform. Like
Right.
more or less, like everything you want to achieve is doable because you can code in the platform.
Right.
I think yeah. Don't you think that as well?
Yeah, I mean that's why it's so powerful. But Arthur, let me because I really appreciate your candor, let me ask you this
Yeah.
question. What do you see as the biggest challenge in the marketing cloud community today that nobody's talking about?
Uh, I think so. So I don't know if it's the correct answer to your question, but I
There's no
think like
correct answer. There's only your opinion.
there is a challenge with the sandbox. I think like uh, there is a challenge where people cannot learn Marketing Cloud without purchasing the product. So it's really difficult if you are like a trailblazer to
Yeah,
learn about Marketing Cloud because you don't have access to the platform. So all you learn is like theoretical knowledge. It's like learning how to drive on a GTA, for example.
sure,
Like
sure.
like yeah.
I'm a
So I
gamer. I
think
know
this
what you're
is
talking about.
this is a challenge. And also, yeah, like the customer cannot, yeah, there is friction at this stage to upskill like the new wave of like of Marketing Cloud like specialist or consultant. I think this will be interesting to have like a proper sandbox where people can sign up and use. And also like customer, um like the entry ticket for Marketing Cloud is quite expensive. So
Hmm.
so like so customer cannot really try it without, like it would be nice if customer could try the platform before signing it.
Oh yeah.
um I
Yeah,
think
and
this
that's
would
what
be
we're
a
doing now
good.
too. We also start with a free version of DESelect Segment so people can try it out and they can install it themselves.
Yeah,
But I see we're kind of coming up at time soon, and I feel we can probably keep going on for a
yeah,
few hours. But since
yeah,
you
yeah,
let me maybe end with this question then, if
yeah.
I may, because you started talking about the challenges in learning it. So I like to end these interviews typically with the question, what advice would you give to Marketing Cloud newbies or marketers, maybe coming from marketing agencies like yourself,
Yeah.
who are trying to transition into Marketing Cloud? What would be your advice to them?
Google is your friend. I will say that because a lot of the answers are already on the internet, like on the Stack Exchange, on
Yeah.
YouTube, on the article. So the more you read, every time you have a challenge, like like they should read and find the answer on the internet because it's available and they are not the first one who face this challenge. Like me personally, I like there is, for most of the things that I build, I have to search on internet. Like I don't know from the top of my head directly.
Mhm.
So it's like I don't have like, yeah, like storage, like I just search the information. And I think by doing that, it will work. And it's not about knowing already, it's about being able to search the information. I think
Mhm.
this is a real skill but it's like Marketing Cloud, but I think it's everything else that is like in our industry. Like, how do you search the information? How fast you find the right answer? And yeah, that's my advice.
It's funny that you say that. I used to say that consulting is just being able to use Google very, very, very well. And I'm
Yeah,
oversimplifying, but there's a lot of truth to that. So
yeah, I think so.
Arthur, thank you for your flexibility, for making time. You've been a very engaging guest here. So yeah, hope to see more of you in the future.
See you.
All right, see you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Heroes of Marketing Cloud. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date about future interviews with fellow marketing champions.